Good morning. Today we will see the solved question paper of May 2018 of 2010 scheme. So the first essay is life cycle and clinical features of Plasmodium falciparum. Describe briefly about lab diagnosis of malaria. Plasmodium falciparum is a unicellular protozoan parasite of humans and deadliest species of Plasmodium that cause malaria in humans. In humans, the infection of most human begins with the bite of an infected female Anopheles mosquito. The infective stage is called sporocytes released from salivary glands to the proboscis of the mosquito enter the bloodstream during the feeding. Typically, each infected bite contains 20 to 200 sporozoites. The immune system clears the sporozoites from the circulation within 30 minutes, but a few escape and quickly invade liver cells, that is hepatocytes. The sporocytes move to the bloodstream by gliding, which is driven by motor made upon the proteins actin and myosin beneath the plasma membrane. Liver stage or exoerythrocytic space. It is upon entering on the hepatocytes, the parasite loses its apical complex and surface coat and transforms to a trophozoite. The liver stage can produce up to merozoites, which eventually release in the bloodstream in a parasite-filled vesicles called merosomes. Blood stage or erythrocytic stage, merozoites then epicomplexin invasion of organelles to recognize and enter the host erythrocyte or the red blood cell. The parasite first bind the erythrocyte in a random orientation. Within the erythrocyte, the parasite metabolism depends upon the digestion of hemoglobin. The clinical symptoms of malaria is fever, anemia, and neurological disorder are produced during the blood stage. Trophozoite. After invading the erythrocyte, the parasite loses specific invasion organelles and de-differentiate into a round trophozoite called within the parasitophorous vacuole. At this stage, the parasitic replicates its DNA multiple times and multiple meiotic divisions occur asynchronously. Gametocyte. Some merocytes differentiate to sexual forms male and female gametocyte. These gametocytes take roughly 7 to 14 days to reach full maturity. Through the process is called gametocytogenesis. They are taken by female Anopheles mosquito during the blood meal. In mosquitoes, within the mosquito, the midgut female gamete maturation process entails slight morphological changes, becoming more enlarged and spherical. Immature sporocytes break through the oocyte wall and hemolymph. They migrate to the mosquito salivary glands where they undergo further development and become infective to humans. This is the life cycle of the malaria plasmodium. Clinical features include uncomplicated malaria, the classical but rarely observed malaria attacks 6 to 10 hours. It consists of a cold stage and sensation of cold and shivering, hot stage of fever, headaches, vomiting, seizures in young children, and finally a sweating stage, sweat in return to normal temperature and tiredness. More commonly, the patient presents a combination of the following symptoms like fever, chills, sweats, headache, nausea and vomiting, body aches, general malaise. Lab diagnosis of malaria. Malarial parasite can be identified examining under the microscope a drop of patient's blood spread out a blood smear on microscopic examination. The specimen is stained, most often with GSP stain, to give the parasites a distinctive appearance. These techniques remain the gold standard for laboratory confirmation of malaria. Rapid diagnostic test often useful alternative to microscope in situations where the reliable microscopic diagnosis is not available. Molecular diagnosis, parasitic nucleic acid detected using polymerase chain reaction. Although this technique may be slightly more sensitive than smear microscopy, it is limited its utility for diagnosis of acutely ill patients in the standard healthcare setting. Serology. Serology detects antibodies against malaria parasites using either indirect immunofluorescence or enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. Describe the morphology, pathogenesis, clinical conditions and diagnosis, treatment of Staphylococcus aureus. These are the spherical cocci, approximately 1 micrometer diameter, arranged characteristic in a grape-like clusters. They are non-sporic, non-motile and usually non-capsulate with the exception of rare strain. They stain readily with aniline dyes and uniformly gram-positive. Pathogenesis. Staph aureus strains possess a large number of cells associated with extracellular factors which contribute to virulence. This probable virulence is the multifactorial in Staphylococcal. Staphylococcal aureus is a gram-positive bacterium colonizing nails, skin, GI tract, frequently invades the skin, soft tissues and bloodstream of humans. Even with surgical and antibiotic therapy, bloodstream infections associated with significant mortality. The secretion of coagulase protein that associate within the activate host hemostatic factor prothrombin and bacterial surface displays agglutinins proteins that bind polymerase fibrin are key virulence strategies for pathogenesis of Staph aureus bloodstream infections which culminate in the establishment of abscess lesions. Clinical conditions, cutaneous infections, they include wound and infections, pustules, fungus, boils, carbuncles, styes, impetigo and pemphigus neonatorum. Deep infections include osteomyelitis, periosteitis, tonsillitis, pharyngitis, sinusitis, bronchopneumonia, empyema, septicemia, meningitis, endocarditis, breast abscess, renal abscess and abscess in other organs. Toxin-mediated disease like food poisoning, toxic shock syndrome and exfoliative disease. Lab diagnosis specimens to be collected on the examples first from the separate lesions, sputum from respiratory infections, food remains and vomitus from case of food poisoning, nasal and perineal swabs from the suspected carriers, swabs of the perineum, piece of hair and umbilical stem may be necessary in special situation. Direct microscopy with gram stain smears is useful in case of pus where cocci in clusters may be seen. Culture. The specimens are cultured on blood agar plate. Staphylococcal colonies appear after overnight incubation. Identification of relatively simple biochemical test, that is positive reactions for coagulase, the heat stable nuclease, alkaline phosphatase and mannitol fermentation can be used to differentiate Staph aureus from other staphylococci. Coagulase test. Coagulase test done by two methods, slide and tube coagulase test. A treatment of Staph aureus, benzyl penicillin is the most effective antibiotic with the strain. The patients allergic to penicillin may be given erythromycin, vancomycin or first generation cephalosporin, cloxacillin, oxacillin and fluoxetine and methicillin and are penicillase resistant penicillins. Glucopeptides, vancomycin and ticoplain are the agents of choice in treatment of systemic infection, but these agents are expensive and may be toxic. For cutaneous infections, oral therapy with semi-synthetic penicillins, this cloxacillin and dicloxacillin is usually efficacious. For mild superficial lesions, systemic antibiotics may not be necessary. Topical application of drugs not used systemically, as in bactrazine, chlorhexidine and mifepristone may be sufficient. Short note on delayed hypersensitivity reaction. Type 4 hypersensitivity reactions, otherwise known as delayed hypersensitivity, constitute one aspect of cell-mediated immune response and are caused mainly by T cells. These are typically provoked by intracellular microbial infections or haptens like simple chemicals applied on the skin, evolve slowly and consist of a mixed cellular reaction involving lymphocytes and macrophages in particular. It is named delayed hypersensitivity because it appears 24 to 48 hours after the presentized host encounters the antigen, while immediate hypersensitivity reactions occurs half to 12 hours. Causes of type 4 reactions. Type 4 reactions occurs with antigen, especially those of tissue cells and phagocytosis by macrophages and presented to the receptor on the Th1 cell surface of the contact class of 1 MHC. Contact between the antigen and the Th1 cells cause the cell to proliferate and release cytokines. Cytokines attract lymphocytes, macrophages and basophils to the affected tissue. Extensive tissue damage may result. There are two types, that is recognized tuberculin type and contact dermatitis type. Biomedical based management already discussed. Anthrax. Anthrax is an infection caused by bacterium Bacillus anthracis. It can occur in the four forms: skin, lungs, intestinal, and injection. Symptoms of onset between 1 day to over 2 months after infection contracted. The skin form presents with smaller blister with surrounding swelling that often turns into painless ulcer with black center. Inhalation from present with fever, chest pain, and shortness of breath. Intestinal forms present with diarrhea, which may contain blood, abdominal pains, nausea, and vomiting. Injection form versus with fever, abscess at the site of drug injection. Anthrax is spread by contact with bacterium spores which often appear in infectious animal products. Contact is by breathing, eating, or through area of broken skin. It does not typically spread directly between people. Risk factors include people who work with animals or animal products, travelers, and military persons. Diagnosis can be confirmed by finding the antibodies or toxin in the blood or culture of the sample from the infected site. Anthrax vaccination is recommended for people who are high-risk infection. Immunizing animals against anthrax is recommended in areas where previous infection have been occurred. A rare disease, human anthrax, is most common in Africa and Central Southern Asia. 2 months course of antibiotics, ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin, doxycycline after the exposure can prevent the infection. If infection occurs, treatment is with antibiotics and possibly antitoxin. Type and number of antibiotics used depend on the type of the infection. Antitoxins recommended for those who have widespread infections. Amoebiasis or amoebic descent is an infection caused by any of the amoeba and amoeba genus. Symptoms are most common during the infection of Entomoeba histolytica. Then amoebiasis can be presented with no, mild, or severe symptoms. Symptoms may include lethargy, loss of weight, colonic ulcerations, abdominal pain, diarrhea, or bloody diarrhea. Complications can include inflammation and ulceration of colon with tissue death or perforation which may result in peritonitis. People affected may develop anemia due to prolonged gastric bleeding. Cysts of Entamoeba can survive for up to 1 month in the soil or for up to 45 minutes under fingernails. Invasion of the intestinal lining results in bloody diarrhea. If the parasite reaches the bloodstream, it can spread through the body, most frequently ending up in the liver where it can cause amoebic liver abscess. Diagnosis typical by stool examination using microscope but may not be reliably exclude infection of separate between specific types. An increased white blood cells count may present in severe cases. The most accurate test is finding specific antibodies in the blood, but it may remain positive after the treatment. Bilateral colitis can result in similar symptoms. Prevention of amoebiasis is by improved sanitation, including separating food and water from the feces. There is no vaccine. There are 2 treatment options depending upon the location of the infection. Amoebiasis in tissues treated with either metronidazole, tinidazole, nitazoxanide, dihydroxyamitrine, or chloroquine, while luminal infections treated with diloxanide, fluoride, or iodoquinone. Effective treatment against all stages of disease may require a combination of medication. Infections without symptoms do not require treatment, but infected individuals can spread the parasite to others and treatment can be considered. Lab diagnosis of UTI, which already have been discussed. Cryptococcosis. Cryptococcosis is a potentially fatal fungal infection, mainly the lungs, presenting with pneumonia and brain. When in the lungs it appears presenting as pneumonia, and the brain where it appears as meningitis. Cough, difficulty breathing, chest pain, and fever are seen if the lungs are infected. When the brain is infected, symptoms include headache, fever, neck pain, nausea, and vomiting, slight sensitivity and confusion or change in behavior. It can also affect other parts of the body, including skin, where it may appear as several fluid-filled nodules, the dead tissue. It is caused by a fungi, Cryptococcus neoformans, or less commonly Cryptococcus gatei, and acquired by breathing in the spores from the air. These fungi are found in the wood, soil, decaying wood, pigeon droppings, and hollow of some species of the trees. Diagnosis is by isolating Cryptococcus from a sample of affected tissue or direct observation of fungus by India-ink staining of the body fluids. It can be cultured from cerebrospinal fluids, sputum, and a skin biopsy. Treatment with amphotericin B. Cryptococcus is a very subacute infection with prolonged subclinical phase lasting weeks to months in persons with HIV or AIDS before the onset of symptomatic meningitis. Rubella. Contagious viral infections preventable by vaccine, best known by its distinctive red rash. Rubella is a contagious viral infection. It is also called German measles or three-day measles. While this infection may cause mild symptoms or even no symptoms in most people, it can cause serious problems for unborn babies whose mothers become infected during pregnancy. The disease can spread through direct contact with saliva or mucus of an infected person or through airway respiratory droplets produced from coughing or sneezing. Symptoms often appear 2 to 3 weeks after exposure and should include mild fever and headache. There is no treatment to get rid of the established infection, but medications can help with symptoms. Acid fast training, solidly discussed, bacterial growth curve, solidly discussed in November 2020 question paper. Personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment, commonly referred to PPE, is equipment worn to minimize the exposure to hazards that cause serious workplace injuries. These injuries and illness may result from contact with chemical, radiological, physical, electrical, mechanical or other workplace hazards. Personal protective equipment may include items like gloves, safety glasses, shoes, earplugs, muffins or head hats, respirators, coveralls, vest and full body suits. All personal protective equipment should safely designed and constructed and should maintain the clean and reliable fashion. It should be fit comfortably, encouraging the worker use. If the personal protective equipment does not fit properly, it can make difference between being safely covered or dangerously exposed. PPE is to be used, PPE program should be implemented. This program should address the hazards present, the selection, maintenance and use of PPE, training of the employees, monitoring of the program to ensure its ongoing effectiveness. Next is pasteurization. Pasteurization is the process the packaged and non-packaged foods, thus milk, fruit juice, are treated with mild heat, usually less than 100 degrees Celsius, to eliminate pathogens and extend shell life. This process aims to destroy or deactivate the organisms and enzymes that contribute to spoilage or risk disease, including vegetative bacteria, but not all bacteria spore. The process named after the French microbiologist Louis Pasteur, whose research in 1860 demonstrated that thermal processing would deactivate unwanted microorganisms in the wine. Spoilage enzymes are also inactivated during pasteurization. Today, pasteurization is usually widely in dairy industry and other food processing industries to achieve food preservation and food safety. Immunoprophylaxis for hepatitis B virus. Immunoprophylaxis means the prevention of a disease by production of active or passive immunity. Till date, there is no effective therapy against this disease, hence the prevention of the disease through vaccination is the only means to control the disease. Two generations of vaccines, that is first generation plasma derived and second generation recombinant DNA vaccines are available. Both these vaccines have been used extensively to all age groups of all over the world. The studies have shown that HB vaccines are clinically well tolerated, safe and highly immunogenic. Normally, 3 doses of HB vaccines are recommended at 0, 1, 2 and 12 or 0, 1, 6 months schedule. Dosage and schedules may vary in certain groups such as infants and neonates, chronic renal patients on hemodialysis also. IgM antibody. About 10% of normal serum IgGs are of this class. The normal serum level of IgM is 1.2 mg per ml. Half-life is about 5 days. IgM is the first immunoglobulin to appear after exposure to an antigen. In circulation, IgM exists as a pentamer of 5,4 chain units. Phenogenetically, IgM is the oldest of Ig class. IgM is the first class of antibody produced during the primary immune process. It is also the earliest to be synthesized by the fetus by beginning of the 20th week of age. IgM agglutinates bacteria, activates complement by classical pathway and enhances the ingestion of pathogens by phagocytic cell. IgM is normally restricted to the intravascular space because of its high molecular weight. Hydatid cyst. Hydatid disease is a parasitic infestation of tapeworm of genus Echinococcus. Larval hydatid cyst seeds from the embryo released from an egg develop hydatid cyst, which grows about 5 to 10 cm within the first year and able to survive within organs for years. Cysts sometimes grow to be large so that at the end of several years or several even decades, they can contain several liters of fluid. Cysts containing tapeworm larvae may grow in the body for years before symptoms appear. When cysts become large, they may cause nausea, weakness, coughing, and stomach or chest pain. Treatment may include surgery, removal of the fluid from the cyst, and medication. Tinea bursica. Bursica is the fungal infection that causes patches or discolored spot on the skin. It is also known as pityriasis versicolor. The result from type of yeast that naturally lives on the skin. When the yeast grows out of the control, the skin disease which appears as a rash is the result. It is the most affect teens and young adults. Its condition is contagious. It is not contagious. Symptoms include patches of the skin lighter or darker than the surrounding skin, often on the torso and shoulders. Treatments such as antifungal creams, lotions or shampoos are usually effective. However, skin discoloration may last from weeks to months. Droplet precautions. Droplet precautions are used to prevent spread of pathogens that are passed through the respiratory secretion but not survive for a long time. Those droplets are relatively large particles that cannot travel through the air very far. They are transmitted through the coughing, sneezing and talking. Prevent transmission of disease spread by large respiratory droplets through the coughing, sneezing or talking. Examples of conditions requiring droplet precautions include seasonal influenza and pertussis, and nowadays the COVID-19. PPE for the droplet precautions. A face mask is worn upon the entry to the patient room. Use standard precautions when handling items contaminated with respiratory secretion. PPE must be removed at the point of exit. Do not reuse the face mask. Hand hygiene follows PPE removal. Name the 4 arbovirus prevalent in India are dengue, Japanese encephalitis, West Nile fever, chikungunya fever, hemorrhagic fever, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, Caisino forest disease, etc. The sum of the arboviral infections which is prevalent in India. Thank you.